Good morning, everybody. Nicky here from Yoga Marlborough in Blenheim, top of the south of New Zealand. And I'm here today with the lovely Anne Brooker. So Anne's coming to us from the Sounds Retreat Luxury Lodge, which is her lodge up in the Marlborough Sounds at Anakiwa that she runs with her husband, Tony. And you can see from the picture how gorgeous it is. She's got beautiful ocean behind her and bush. And I've been lucky enough to visit there, and it's stunning, stunning, stunning views. So Anne is coming to us today as a student, a long-term student of yoga and lover of yoga practice. And Anne also runs Marlborough Yoga Retreats. So what she has done in the past is organise retreats on behalf of international and local New Zealand teachers, and they're often run in the Marlborough Sounds. And so Anne's got a lot of connections throughout the world of yoga, and she's had her own challenges recently with, she'll explain, but there's been some flooding in the Marlborough Sounds. We had a state of emergency recently. And so she's been locked down and cut off for more, in more ways than perhaps some of us have been just with the lockdown. So Anne, thank you so much for being with me today and sharing your experiences. And how's lockdown?
Morning.
Yeah, morning, Marina. How's lockdown going for you?
Well, today is a sunny day, so that's good. We're now officially in spring, so that's lovely. But as you mentioned, we had a big storm maybe about 6 weeks ago now, and terrible damage in the Sounds. Many roads have been blocked, some still are, and some that are open are only open at certain times of the day. So it's very difficult to get out to do shopping or essentials, and a yoga class, forget it. You know, I mean, it's difficult to get in and out at certain times. So over the last couple of months, I've discovered how wonderful virtual yoga classes are, because that's been the only way for me to join classes. And I'm sort of, standing up for virtual yoga classes this morning. It's been great.
That's great, because I've taught a few classes on Zoom, and not every student is really ready to do that, and quite a few are not keen at all. So there's a couple of reasons. I think some don't do technology, and others just feel a bit zoomed out because they've been on meetings and calls and workshops, and they're all day long on Zoom, and they're thinking, I don't want to get on another Zoom and do a class. But there's a little bit, you can look at it from some of the, what are some of the positives around joining a class on Zoom that you've found?
Well, for me, our business had to close a few weeks ago because of the storm, and then of course now because of lockdown. So for those people that aren't working like myself, it's given me a few things. One, the sort of timetable in my day, that at this time of the day I'm going to be practicing yoga, and so you can work your day around that, whatever you're doing, working, housework, walking, or whatever. And it's also given me some connection. It's actually a live class, so you are connecting with the teacher and you are seeing other students, and it's a little bit disconnected. It's not there, but it's not real, but you are connecting with people, and that's been really important for me, actually. And I found a studio in Nelson that offered about 3 classes a day, so it gave me the option of choosing one of those classes, and there are different types of yoga, so you have a choice. And sometimes I've joined a class a day, which is much more than I would have normally done if I'd had to drive out to go to a yoga class. So I've actually been practicing more, so it's been really beneficial to me. It's a safe space as well, because you're in your own quiet room. You can also use it to push yourself and try some more challenging poses as well, some arm balances or headstands and things, which maybe you're nervous about or uncomfortable. So it's also a safe space.
Yeah, that's, I think, the space, and I think the thing you mentioned too about it being live and you are in connection with the teacher and other students in real time. So a lot of people go on YouTube and follow things, but it's really different when you have a relationship with the teacher and the other students, or you can build that relationship. Sometimes I find students are not keen to put their cameras on either, so maybe they're a bit shy. They think someone's going to look at their messy back house. But as a teacher, I know that I don't notice that. I really don't. At the most, I see the face, and that connection with the face and the smile and the eyes and maybe a thumbs up. Yep, I understand. I can hear you. That's really nice for me as well to get that feedback. What's your experience? Do people turn the cameras off, or?
I think, well, my experience is a lot of people have the cameras on, and there are a couple that don't, but I do feel for the teachers, and I think it's much more respectful to have your camera on, because if the camera's off, they could have gone to make a cup of tea or whatever. You don't know what's happening.
I know.
So I think it is much more respectful to have the camera on. And sometimes they can, I have had corrections as well, saying, Anne, please, do this or reach this way. So there is still some connection, and also, just seeing someone there is much nicer than seeing a blank screen. So I feel for those teachers that are looking at nothing.
Yeah, I did one the other day, and I think quite a few people had the camera off, and I found it's quite tiring as a teacher too, because there isn't when you're sitting in a classroom situation, there's all the body language, there's you can direct and kind of respond and change things as you need to. My classes are more meditative, so they are very much at a student's own pace. They're quite, the students have their eyes closed. They're quite withdrawn with a very internal focus. It's a little bit different to, say, doing, like you say, a balance or something like that. But as you say, where do you practice? Do you practice inside the house? Do you have a spot that you always come back to, or?
Yes, I have a spot in the bedroom, and close the door, and it's a quiet spot there. I would also, a couple of tips is I would recommend using a laptop or a desktop if you are doing a class, because it's just much easier to see your teacher on a large screen than on a tiny phone, and then you're back here and then you're trying to see. So I would recommend that, but you really don't need much at home to practice. A mat, if you don't have a strap, you can use a belt or a tie, and a cushion, so it's easy. But I think for those people that maybe wish to meditate more, or finding this time quite stressful, just even taking 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever you can of just, finding a quiet place to just take some deep breaths. Because I think this time at the moment there's a lot of negative news out there, and it can sort of suck you in, and you can get caught up in it. And sometimes I think it's hard to be positive at this time, with so much uncertainty going on around us. So if you can use your yoga practice, I think it has been beneficial to me.
I have felt that too. There's a little bit more tension this time, maybe a bit more divisiveness, and there's a lot of sort of, when people are on or have one sort of way of thinking, then other people tend to be sort of right on the other side. Like, it's, how do we bring ourselves back together, and also accept that people do have different points of view, and that's okay. And so if we can just come back to our own selves, take responsibility for our own state of mind and health. And I think there's a lot of great resources out there, and there's a lot of teachers that are there. It's also a chance to support teachers that, a lot of them have lost their income right now, and it's a way that you can give back to them and keep them going, because, as long as you can keep them going, they'll be there when you can go back to class as well. So I think it's a time. I felt that in the first lockdown even more. People were really trying to find ways to support the community and how to support businesses, and let's keep it local and look after each other. So I think that's another way to look at it too. Let's support those teachers out there that are offering the classes, because for us it's also a big change, and it hasn't been easy. And we're not all technically savvy. So even for me, putting this little series together has been challenging. But it's what we need to do. We need to be flexible. We need to be versatile. And we need to just accept things as they are, because that's how they are. Like, you're in that situation, the road is closed some of the time, your business is shut down, you know, when it shouldn't be. And then the lockdown comes on top of that. And you're separated from your son as well, who's at boarding school, right?
Yes, yeah, my son, we were in Queenstown when the lockdown was announced, and so we couldn't pick him up in time. So he's actually at boarding school. So I haven't seen him in weeks as well. So that's an added stress. But he's probably happy. He's probably not stressed at all. But
he's got his friends. But
definitely the yoga and that the timetable has helped me tremendously. And it is something to use going forward. You know, when you're traveling, when you're on holiday, you know, you'll still be able to use virtual classes. And as you say, you can connect even across the world. There's, you know, you can be anywhere.
And I think you can build relationships with teachers, you know, which is not the same as just jumping on anything on YouTube or whatever. It's like you actually have a teacher that you know, who knows you, and you can build a long-term relationship. And even if you move around the world, the virtual classes, I think, are here to stay, and they will provide an opportunity for you to keep in touch with those people that you've built relationships with and that you trust. And I think I'm positive about it, even though it's been challenging. I'm pretty positive about it for the future. Change is good.
I think it is a challenge for a lot of people. People don't like seeing themselves on camera, and including myself, and you know, it is a totally new thing, but we should embrace it. And you know, yoga is I found some of my dearest friends now from the yoga community. It's a wonderful community, and people are very warm and trusting, and we should embrace that and stick together.
I love that. Community, connection, trust, you know, building those relationships long-term, supporting one another. That's what it's all about. And that makes the world a much happier place. And it reminds us that we're all connected ultimately. And that is the core principle of yoga, that there is no separation between us. We only forget that. And in that we suffer, you know, we suffer loneliness, we suffer separation. And once we sort of come back to that and remember, no, we're all connected and we're never alone. I think that's a really the beautiful core teaching of yoga. And thank you so much for today. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Or?
Well, I just look forward to us all coming back together again, and maybe on the next yoga retreat. Who knows when that will be? But it's just nice to connect with people now, you know, online, and fingers crossed that we'll be able to get together soon. But what you're doing is amazing, and these little tips that I've been watching every day from different teachers is you know, it just brings you back in when you sort of go off in your own headspace. It brings you back in and stay positive and calm at this time.
I think there's a lot of support out there, and we just need to reach out. And I'll share your details as well when I send out the email with our little chat. And there could be yoga teachers out there or others that are interested in retreats in the future. They can maybe make contact with you. And as soon as you have something else, as soon as you're able to put something else together, we can, you know, you can let people know.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Anne.
Right.
Thank you.
Take care,
and have a beautiful day.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.